Hello, fellow human! Welcome back to another Dank Doggo rSlash ChoosingBeggars. We have 6 stories in total for you guys today. The first story is posted by /, Little Authors, with the title of Ex-Boyfriend Gets Angry at Me When My Parents Don't Hand Over 15 grand. Some backstory. I dated this guy for a long time and was a nice guy, choosy beggar, and entitled person all wrapped in one. I have tons of stories, but this made me laugh. I was the only one who worked, and he sat at home eating macas and playing games, drinking, and being lazy AF. He destroyed my bank account daily and threatened to kill himself or my family if I told him I wanted to leave him. Anyway, one day I received this phone call after work. BF, hey, I need you to ask your parents for something. Me, skeptical, what like? BF, I just want them to give me a loan. My parents are very wealthy, but despise my boyfriend because of how much he takes from me. Me, no sorry, I really doubt they will give you a loan. I already owe them so much for keeping my car on the road, I can't really... BF, I only need like 15 grand. Me, silent for a throat beat, I said, oh, so carefully. They're not going to give you $15,000. What would you even need that for? BF, I'm gonna buy a car. Me, 15,000? You can buy a decent one for 5. I'm still not asking my mom and dad to give you $15,000. I myself would never ask. BF, but I want a decent car, new one if can. And besides, I can pay them back when my house sells. His mom's house isn't even on the market, and he thinks it's gonna sell next week, and he's gonna pay mom and dad real quickly. Me, houses take a long time to sell. It will take years. BF, no it won't. Me, yes it will. I've done this 4 times living with my family, and even so, mom and dad aren't going to give you $15,000. BF explodes. BF, that's because they fucking hate me. Me, internally, oh here we go. BF, they are fucking horrible people. I should burn their house down and making them having nothing. That threats are common. Me, they don't have to give you anything. BF, that's because they fucking hate me. They always have. Selfish fucking minors. Me, yeah, I know. Look, I gotta go. I hung up and called my mom. She explodes into laughter, and my dad does too. We had another good laugh when my boyfriend asked me to pay for skydiving lessons so he can start up a skydiving school, but at this point of time, I'm just happy he's blocked on all my social media. After this happened, he didn't talk about it much, but he showed me stupidly expensive cars. I paid no mind. I was too busy of thinking ways of escaping his abuse. Also, I'll answer some questions that people have been asking. Why did you stay? Huge lack of confidence. I struggle in social situations and struggle standing up for myself. When he got mad, I couldn't handle it. When I wanted to bring myself to break up, I knew he'd be violently angry and I was terrified. I got stuck in a house with him, the owners wouldn't let me out, and I was the sole provider for his mom and him while they renovated her house. The first year wasn't bad, but he showed his true colors later on. How long ago? We aren't together anymore. I blocked him and our breakup was back in 2017. How did it happen? He wanted to move to Brisbane, I didn't. It was one of the few things that terrified me as much as the threats. Little did I know he'd been cheating on me, hence why he wanted to cut things off. But I bolted when I got the chance. Got a new job and put some serious chaos between us. Well, that sounds like some serious abuse from a huge tool. Glad that OP left him. So many nicer guys are out there, you just need to keep looking. On to the second story, written by /Lag Lacy. Huge airline company asked for freebies from small business, blast us on social media when I decline. I run a small food service business. We've been in business for 3 years. While it pays the bills, we ain't millionaires yet. We get calls from people all the time asking for free this and free that, and I've learned to politely decline. Yesterday, I received a phone call from one of the largest airlines in the country. CB, hi there. We are doing an end of the year ceremony for our employees, and I was wondering if you wouldn't mind offering some free gift cards for the event. We want to help to promote your business. Me, I'm happy to offer you a discount coupon, or you're welcome to purchase gift cards from our website. CB, I don't think we're able to make purchase, but it's a great opportunity to promote your business. Me, I'm afraid I can't help you, and I find it a bit disrespectful for a multi-billion-dollar corporation to call a small business asking for freebies. CB, thanks for your time. Click. Later in that day, I receive a message via our Facebook page from another employee saying that I blew the airline's company to promote us and they'd never be ordering from my company due to my lack of manners and rudeness. When I asked where she'd read it, she said that the woman had made a post from her personal Facebook account accusing us of lack of manners and rudeness. Really? This company just changed their policy so that any checked bags now will cost an extra $30, and I'm the bad guy for asking that they promote my business by paying for my service? If you really want to promote a local business, hire them. Don't come to them and with your hand out, especially when your company has revenue in the double-digit billions. P.S. I'm not naming the company. That would be the most hypocritical thing I could do, considering that my whole beef is with them talking trash on the internet with my name in their mouths. Well, very disgusting of them to even attempt to pull this off. They're so rich. I think it was just some small stop events and some geniuses thought it was a good idea to ask for freebies. On to the third story shared by u/BK Lina Dare. But they're my photos! I work as a photographer to make some extra money while in college. One of my friends had mentioned the idea of me doing some senior photos for her for free. When I went home for winter break, she texted me and wanted to set up a session. I agreed to ask a favor to her. I set up a date and time with her. After confirming the date, she then proceeded to change it multiple times, claiming that she kept having family emergencies or events pop up. On the day of the photo session, I showed up on an agreed location where we were going to meet at 3 p.m. She rolled into the parking lot around 4:15. I got nowhere near as many photos as I would have liked, seeing as the sun started to set around 4:30. During the shoot, she made sure to point out to me multiple times that she didn't want her teeth edited because it looks creepy and fake. I spent several hours importing and editing the photos of her and sent them to her. She seemed extremely happy with them. The very next day, she texted me and told me that I needed to go back and re-edit the photos because there was a white line on her teeth that she didn't like. I tried to explain to her that she had told me not to touch her teeth, yet she was having none of it. As annoyed as I was, I went back and took the white line of her teeth. I sent the re-edited photos back to her, and she seemed pleased with them. After a few days, she texted me again, wanting to know where the rest of the photos were. I had already sent her like over 50 pictures. I tried to explain to her that I didn't have any more of her, especially considering that she was extremely late and it was a free session. She informed that because they were photos of her, she had the right to them and I had to send her more. At that point, I started ignoring her and she blocked me on everything she could think of. This morning, she texted my boyfriend and told him to get the rest of the photos for her. He tried to explain to her that there were no more photos for her to have and that she already gotten so many more than she could have paid for a paid session, let alone a free session. After that, she got mad at him for getting in the middle of her fight with me. She's been blowing up both our phones all day because I won't give her more photos from her free photo shoot. On another note, she also told multiple people I'd take their photos for free. I think that should be the last time OP do a free shoot. If people are late for like 20 minutes and don't show up, you should cancel the book. Never let them disrespect you like that. Your time worth a lot. On to the third story shared by u/Gianantonic. The time I ruined a CB's family Christmas. Back in 2004, I worked at the front desk for a large mountain resort. 90% of the properties on the mountain were under our umbrella, and our front desk was open 24 hours. The other 10% were part of different resort entirely, but since it was small, they only had employees on site from 8 to 6, and calls to their front desk would reroute to ours from after hours in case there was an emergency situation. I was 21 years old, making a whole $7 an hour and working 12-hour shift on Christmas Day because the resort was extra busy on the holidays and anyone who refused to work on Christmas was fired. It was the time of my life. I didn't spend Christmas with my family and I spent the day getting barked at by entitled vacationers, so I was in a good mood already. Then it was about 11 p.m. I answered a call coming from the other resort. Me, resort, this is me, how may I help you? CB, we didn't get new towels today. Me, I'm sorry we don't do that. It's a condo, so you're basically renting an apartment for the week. Housekeeping only comes between guests unless you make a special request. CB, are you kidding? We're supposed to use the same towels for a week? Me, yes? Who doesn't reuse towels? Did they wipe their butts with them? CB, that is disgusting. We have already used them. They're dirty. Have housekeeping bring us the new ones. Me, I'm sorry. Housekeeping has gone home for the day. I don't even work for your resort. Their offices are closed for the evening, and we only take calls from in case of emergencies. I can't get any towels to you. You'll have to use the ones you have for now. CB, but we need clean towels now. This is an emergency. Me, I'm not going to wake up your resort's managers on Christmas because your towels. There's a washer/dryer in your condo if the towels are too dirty for use to reuse. CB, how dare you? We're on a vacation. We don't do laundry. Me, well, I'm sorry that's not what you wanted to hear. CB, you have ruined Christmas. Me, great. Have a nice night. Happy holidays. Talk about first world problems. Well, now we know where the Grinch vacation for Christmas, am I right? On to the fifth story shared by /Kanto the Otter. We love your eggs, not enough to pay for them. Happened today posting on mobile. My husband and I have chickens. Just a small backyard flock. We sell eggs for $5 a dozen. My husband is a student and have a good job, but I'm the lowest paid person in my department. My coworker, who is kinda lame dude anyway, loves our eggs. He has been buying them for a couple of months. LD is a highly paid executive and his wife is even higher up in the food chain at the company. They drive new cars and live in a fancy era. They have one child. This morning he comes to my desk with his egg carton. LD, we love your eggs. My wife eats them for breakfast every morning and my daughter says they are her favorite. Me, awesome! Thank you for bringing back the carton. I'll bring your eggs tomorrow. LD, well, we love them so much, I was wondering if we could get like 2 doughs this week. Me, sure, I think we have that on hand. LD, since we have been buying eggs for a couple months, do you think we could get some for free? We really love the eggs, but we are a vegetarian family, and it helps our budget to not have to pay for extra protein. Me, I'll ask my husband, they're his chickens. We can see if maybe he wants to start frequent buyer perks thing. LD, we are really tight on budget and trying to do best for our family. Me, I'm happy to ask him. He set the price because the money goes into feeding and care for the chickens. LD, and I heard you're talking your husband about going to Disneyland. You should give us your eggs for free if you can afford that. Me, yeah, we want to go Disney one day, but not on egg money, lol. Disney is stupid expensive. LD, well, if you can't getting all your eggs for free, at least a dozen a week, we don't want any more. Me, well, that's a shame. I'm sorry you feel that way. So I turned around and dropped his egg carton in the trash. LD, hey, what about my free eggs? My wife will want her breakfast. Me, they sell them in the grocery store for like 2.5 a dose. Try there. Bye, Felicia LD. So basically there were 2 options OP could make. A, give away the eggs for free, and B, don't give away the eggs for free. Ugh, such a tough decision. On to the final story shared by /DOCOCD. My neighbor thinks she can walk in my house and help herself to my dinner or anything else she wants. Please note I was young when this happened and I've learned not to get walked on or allow this type of behavior. This story happened many years ago. While we were in the military, we moved frequently. At one base in particular, we lived in condo-style houses, lines of homes that have 1 or 2 walls that are connected to each other. I mentioned the type of the house because it shows how close we are to our neighbors. We did have our own driveways, but they were for single cars and were right next to our neighbors. This base was in a warm location where we should have air conditioning, but we did not. We were enlisted and lived in older houses, and only newer enlisted or officer housing had AC. The reason I mentioned this is because I would leave my house front door open and just have the screen door closed so we could get crosswind to cool the house. This should have not been a big deal, right? Wrong. Our neighbor that was connected to our left liked to come over and borrow things. Our neighbor or choosing beggar will be referred to as CB. Moving forward would come over, and at the beginning she would knock. She asked for things such as a cup of sugar or milk. Then, as time progressed, CB would knock and just walk in, and at this point she still asked for stuff. To be honest, that didn't really bother me too bad because it wasn't too frequent, and then all of a sudden it changed, and CB stopped knocking altogether and began to just walking in. I did say something keeping it light in hopes that it would work. I knew we were going to be neighbors for a while, and it could be bad to have a bad relationship between neighbors. Back then, I had a lot of anxiety about having negative interactions with people. Then CB became pregnant, and her entitlement all of a sudden knew no bounds. CB would not only have walked into my house, she would go into my fridge or freezer and grab whatever she wanted. This one time I was making dinner and she walked over and smelled and grabbed a plate and served herself. I said something to the effect of, "I'm making that for my husband," and CB responded that she is only taking a little and there will be plenty more for him. That was it. I was mad. After that, I tried locking my screen door, but the cheap lock wouldn't hold, and CB was able to pull the door open and eventually snap the lock off. I finally said, "Screw it," and start shutting my actual door, which sucked because it was hot and no AC, but it was better than dealing with her every day. I thought that would work, but she started going through my back door and coming through our screen door. Oh, and did I mention her husband was like 3 ranks higher than mine was, and she was seriously taking from us when they could afford way more. Anyway, this went on while CB was pregnant. Finally, after CB had had her baby, CB started asking for even more. She wanted my husband to come to kill bugs when her husband wasn't home, and she asked me to do things she could easily do herself, like go to the grocery store. The final straw was she woke me up at 2 a.m. saying so cold and mumbling. I seriously thought something was wrong with her baby. I got up, woke my husband up, let him know, and ran over to her house. I ran. I ran to her house, the door was unlocked, and CB was laying on the couch. She wasn't feeling good. She wanted me to get her a blanket from her upstairs closet. I lost my crap and told her I thought something was wrong with her baby. I was over it. I told her, "CB, you're not to walk into her house without permission, and you're not to ask my husband for anything anymore. The only way it is ever okay to call me in the middle of the night ever again is because you need a 911. CB just looked at me and said something about, "Since I'm here, can I just get the blanket?" and that I'm being a horrible neighbor. I walked out of the house and went home and went to bed. Moving forward, CB scolded me every time she saw me and pointed at me and talked about me to her husband and other neighbors who told me later. CB's husband got orders and they finally moved. I was so happy because she made it uncomfortable being at my own home till she did. TLDR, CB neighbor would come into my house without permission and take whatever she wanted. Finally, she called me at 2 a.m. to get her a blanket. This was the final straw. Talking about the audacity of some people, man. Some military wives think they wear their husband's rank or something. Spouses are spouses, period. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Dank Doggo appreciates your time. If you enjoy our content and want to see more of us, stay tuned and subscribe. Don't forget to smash that like button and ring the bell, or Doggo will cry. Also, you can always tell us your friendly neighbor doggo your experiences in the comment section. I'll catch up with you guys later in the next video.